Hi everyone. I've had a lot of inquiries in just lately about dog hair and grooming for your Labrador. So I just wanted to go through a few things, answer a few questions that have come through which might help you. First of all, grooming a Labrador is not as essential as it would be with most long haired dogs. But there are still things that you should do to keep your Labrador in the best possible shape and start to reduce the amount of dog hair that you're going to be finding around your house quite literally everywhere at the moment. If you've got a Labrador that's kind of 6 months or older, you've probably started to notice that that hair will get everywhere. Daily hoovering is by far the best way to keep on top of it. But you can also make sure that you get appropriate regular grooming for your dog to keep that shedding under control. In theory, Labradors shed their coat twice a year, so you will see an influx of hair at certain times of the year, particularly as we go from seasonal changes, so warm to cold, cold to warm. But as a pretty experienced Labrador owner, I'm also pretty convinced that both of those sheds that they do each year last 6 months. It seems to be an ongoing, constant battle with hair. And actually, it's probably not something that you're ever going to get on top of. So learn to live with the hair because it's going to form a big part of the rest of your Labrador's life. Labradors are pretty good at taking care of themselves, and those natural oils that they create will give their coat plenty of protection. If we overwash or overgroom them, it starts to strip the coat of those really essential natural oils that they need. So do be cautious that we don't want to overgroom our Labradors. You can, of course, take your Labrador to a professional groomer. And when you take them to a professional groomer, they'll get a really good wash. And most of the time, they will blast dry their coat. Blast drying coats gets right underneath all of the fur to remove lots of that dead undercoat. And if you do take your Labrador to a professional groomer, you're going to be amazed at the amount of fur that comes out when they have a blast dry. But I do tend to find that most Labrador owners take care of the grooming themselves because it's fairly straightforward in comparison to a longer haired or a toy breed dog. Here is the routine that I have with my Labradors, which hopefully will help you and give you some ideas of what you can do on a daily, weekly, and monthly schedule just to make sure you're keeping them in the best shape. So for me, daily tasks are that I simply smooth their coat with my hands to remove any loose hair. That's not a special event, that is just giving them lots of fuss and attention. And as I'm doing that, I'm just running my fingers through their coat, just smoothing that coat to get rid of any loose hairs that might be hanging around. If my dogs are a little bit muddy or a little bit damp following a walk, I simply use a damp cloth or a sponge just to wipe them over, just to get rid of any of those damp or muddy bits. And then using a microfiber towel, again, I just wipe them off with a microfiber towel just to get rid of any surface water. My weekly grooming schedule with my Labradors is that I use a standard hairbrush. So when I say standard, it's like a standard pin hairbrush, something that you might use on your own hair. And I will just brush them through once a week. And that just encourages any dead hair to fall out, keeps them looking great, and also removes any stubborn bits of mud that might have been caught in the hair. My monthly grooming schedule for the dogs is that I use a de-shedding brush once a month. And the brush that I use is a Groomy de-shedding brush, and that removes any excess loose hair from their undercoat. It goes deep into the coat and gets all that downy little bits of fur from underneath. You'll be absolutely amazed at the amount of fur that comes out when you use a de-shedding brush. I only use this once a month though, because it can cause damage to hair if we over groom a dog. So once a month for me is perfect for using a de-shedding tool. And then we come to washing a dog. Now, some people wash their dog after every walk. They wash them once a week, once a fortnight. For me, they get washed maybe 4, 5 times a year at most. So usually quarterly, they get a good wash with pet shampoo. It's really important to let their body take care of them naturally. They will produce lots of natural essential oils that they need to keep in good condition. And by over washing them and over grooming them, you can start to shed them of those essential oils. So limit the amount of shampoos that you do. Once a quarter, We get the dog nice and wet using a hose pipe, and they do like the hose pipe. It's not a punishment by any means. They happily jump up onto the wall to get a spray down. We give them a really good wash with some pet safe shampoo, and then we just rinse them off and then give them a good groom afterwards as well. Of course, if you do have a particularly muddy, a particularly smelly walk, or even if you're exercising your dog at the beach, you might want to up the amount of washes that you give your dog, because if they're covered in salt water or mud or smelly, stagnant water, of course, do give them a wash a little bit more frequently. Or actually, you can use a portable dog shower, which is something that I'll come on to talk about on our recommended products. So, to talk to you about our recommended products that I use, and we are no way affiliated with these are purely the things that I use with my Labradors that I have found to be really good over the many years that I've had Labradors. So, the first thing to mention is the de-shedding tool. You can get loads of these. Go on Amazon, go to Pets at Home, and you'll find quite literally hundreds. They all do a very similar thing, but having tried dozens and dozens of them, I have finally settled on one by a company called Groomy, and it is by far the best one that I think I've tried on any dog, particularly Labradors. Very easy to use, gets a huge amount of dead fur out from their undercoat, so that's my recommendation. My next recommendation is a portable dog shower, and the one that I currently use, and again I've found to be the best, is by a company called Mud Daddy. And portable dog shower that I put warm water into. I load into the back of my car for each walk that we go on. So if we're going somewhere muddy or to the beach, that goes with me in the car. And then when we get back to the car after the walk, it allows me to give my dogs a little kind of rinse down with warm water, and it gets rid of all of the surface dirt and mud from the dogs after every single walk. The shampoo that I use, there are loads of different types of shampoo on the market, but the one that I use is a baby powdered scent, comes in a great big bottle. I will put the link to it beneath for the one that I use. Smells absolutely amazing, and because it's good for their coat condition, keeps them glossy and will encourage any dead remaining hair just to fall out of its own accord. And then on to drying coats. I often get asked, do dogs need to wear coats? And the short answer is no, they don't need coats to keep them warm. If they're fit, healthy, they will take care of that themselves. They've got these coats that are really thick and they're designed for the elements. That said, if you've got a dog that's been on a cold walk, they're feeling a little bit tired, put a drying coat on them. It will encourage them to warm up. It will also take any excess water off the coat and really just make them feel a bit more settled and nice. It's a bit like you putting a jacket on after a cold walk. It will certainly help. The brand that I have settled on and that I prefer is Rough and Tumble. So Rough and Tumble drying coats. And they're a toweling coat that covers the dog's body and just dries them after a wet walk, or after you've washed them as well, you can put them on. Great for car travel because it prevents splashes when your dog shakes, and it will absorb loads of excess water from their coat. They're also really good to put on when they're damp in the car after that walk. So keep one in the back of your car just in case your dog finds a very muddy puddle and you don't want that mud all over your car. If you've got a dog that loves a swim, again, these after a cold swim in the winter will really help them just acclimatise back to that warmer weather so they're not sat shivering in the boot of your car. Of course, if there is anything else in relation to grooming or anything else Labrador related that I can help you with, do drop us a message and we'll get that answered for you. But hopefully for now, that will help. And tag us in some pictures of your dog enjoying their shower or their bath. And if you get any pictures of them in their drying coats, that's always pretty cute. So tag us in those as well. Okay, folks, I will catch you next time.